there's a lot of good technicians, if you would.
Yeah.
They're pretty decent at what they do. But I think their shortcoming is they don't understand the business aspect of it.
Right.
They don't understand, how to price themselves, how they come up with their pricing, things like that. So I think that's what a lot of them struggle with. They just basically make a wage instead of building a business.
They build their own job.
Correct.
They own a job.
Yes.
From the business capital of the world, the Big Apple, New York, Middle Tennessee, it says here. Sounds riveting.
Yeah.
This is the Mostly Middle Tennessee Business Podcast, a podcast about Middle Tennessee business owners and professionals.
Mostly.
Yes,
thank you, Matt Wilson of the Mostly Marketing Podcast. Check him out. You can search it. I think there's also a link in the description of this podcast. He is a really good podcast, old radio pal of mine. This is the Mostly Middle Tennessee Business Podcast where we have real conversations with entrepreneurs, professionals, business owners all around Middle Tennessee, and occasionally we'll get somebody in that's on the outside of things. This is a video and audio podcast. You can watch us or listen to us at MMTBP.com, MMTBP.com. Check it out. I am your host, Jim McCarthy with JimMcCarthyVoiceovers.com. And today, if you're, I've had a lot of tradespeople on as of late. This person is no exception. I love people that have stripes. They've got history with what they do. And long histories at that. Multi-generational, I want to say at this point, with his business. He's one of the premier HVAC companies in Middle Tennessee, based out of Cookeville. And a good old friend of mine that we met a few years ago. His name is Shane Ray with Aloha HVAC, or Heating and Air. Welcome, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good, Jim. How are you, sir?
Glad you came today.
Good.
It's not exactly around the corner for you, right?
It's always good to see you.
Yeah, buddy. Hopefully always a worthwhile visit.
Absolutely.
We'll go grab a bite after this and all that fun stuff. And today, so if you're considering getting into the trade space or anything like that, this would be a good episode to listen to. Or if you're in electrical, plumbing, HVAC, those kinds of things, Shane has got a ton of wisdom earned by experience, and experience earned by failure for most of us. So getting into it, I know that you guys are pretty much a multi-generational. Your dad was in the business, correct?
He was, yes, sir.
Right. Well, first and foremost, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good.
Was it a long drive out here?
Not bad. About an hour and a half.
Able to multitask and do other things while you're out here? See some, go visit some units or houses?
No.
Yeah. Not at all?
Not today.
Not today? So tell me about how you got started with everything. This is something you've done since you were a kid, right?
I did, yeah. Dad actually started back in 1986. Mm-hmm. And, of course, like you said, we started in Cookeville. Mm-hmm. Of course, I was 12 years old, and I was a flashlight holder for a little bit, as you probably heard that term. But
right.
But grew up in the trades. In the summer, I would help Dad go out to service jobs at the time. But, of course, as he grew his company, that never was in my thought process, I guess, to do HVAC or, do the family business. I went to some college, I guess.
Yeah.
But when I got out, I guess one thing led to another, and I got involved in the business, and the rest is history. But it's a good trade. Learned a lot over the years, like you said. Learned a lot from making mistakes, I guess. But but good business. So anyway, got out of school, started helping Dad full time, and at the time, our business used to be more of a mix. It used to be more, of course, before people had a lot of AC and heat and stuff like that, central systems. It was more what we call full cuts. So we go in and do duct systems, everything complete. So I guess about the early 90s, we joined a group and we started changing that. And we started going after retrofits, more replacements, if that makes sense. So we put the focus on service and replacement. So more retail oriented.
So Aloha, it wasn't named that back then, was it?
No, sir. That was our old company. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we had an old company. We, I guess, sold that 10 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe. And maybe a little more. But anyway, we started back up. And I come up with the Aloha brand. So people ask me all the time, so are you from Hawaii? I said, no, I wish I was.
It's funny because you can kind of see it in a way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A Southern Hawaiian. But getting into it, you're 12 years old, 1986. So
Yes.
let's paint the picture a bit here. A similar story to mine, because I used to crawl up ladders and through ceilings and, tie cabling to my belt loop and, pull stuff. And, I was doing the kind of same thing with my dad.
Right.
But I had no interest in going into the family business. It wasn't. I did it for a season after college didn't work out.
Yep.
Learned a lot of good stuff. Eventually parlayed that into the electrical field.
Yep.
And learned that trade as well. Never got into HVAC or anything like that, but always respected those guys because that's a sweaty job.
It is tough. It is tough.
Because you're talking about even in that particular age in the 80s and the early 90s, like you said, a lot of houses weren't built with central air, right?
They weren't.
So you had to retrofit them.
Correct.
Which
Yes.
was just a job in and of itself.
Yes, especially the old houses, as you know.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rough condition.
This house here is probably that way. At least we had you got a crawl space under here
Right.
to kind of run all your duct work.
Yep.
Was that the advent of the soft duct as well at that point?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was trying to remember when that come into play. I'd say maybe mid-'80s, late 80s.
Okay.
We started seeing the flexible duct come into play. But yeah, like you said, used to, man, everything was rigid. So
Yeah.
the whole duct system was rigid.
Yeah, because that is rigid still a thing anymore?
Rarely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get some folks that ask for it, but it's rare.
So those of you who are listening that don't really understand what we're talking about, if you go into your attic or in your business, you're going to see, the ductwork that delivers the cold or warm air to you wherever room you want. The flexible stuff that looks like a giant silver pillow is what we're talking about. The rigid stuff looks like just a bunch of silver boxes.
Correct.
Like what you saw in Die Hard when he's crawling through,
Yes.
He's trying to escape the terrorists, and he's like, "Hey, come on down. We'll have some drinks. Have a good time." And he's in the ductwork.
Correct.
Do they still have commercial ductwork like that?
Mostly, yes. Yeah.
You still see it around.
Oh, yeah.
Because there were guys, I remember doing a lot of phone work when we did phone systems with my dad. Some of them were HVAC companies that needed phone systems. They actually had craftsmen in the shop forming the ductwork. They custom made them right there on the premises.
Yeah.
Is that still happen?
Somewhat. Not like it used to be.
Right.
Yeah. There used to be more of a skill to that, I guess.
Right. What was your what was your desire at 12 years old? What did you want to be? You remember?
Yeah. I've always been more of a creative person.
Right. I can see that.
Yeah. I used to want to be something in the art sector, I guess, like cartoonist or something to do with art. I've always liked creative stuff. So I look back and I think it kind of maybe come into play now with what I do with the Aloha brand.
Now you're getting to the get to years of your life, right? Hopefully. That's what we all strive for. We have to go through the have to years to get to the get to years.
True.
Yeah. So, for me, it was always a creative endeavor as well.
Yeah.
And I pursued it. I went into radio and, I guess, no pun intended, paid the price, because it wasn't exactly lucrative financially, but I got it out of my system. It was a fun gig to have. What made you at that point in time say, you know what, I'm going to forego a dream job and sink my teeth into what the family business is? What made you decide that? And what was the attitude at that time like?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like what you said, Jim. I went to, I guess, a couple semesters to college, and I thought, it's not a good fit for me.
Right.
And then, like I said, we joined a group in the early 90s that really transformed the whole industry. I mean, a lot of the franchises and things that people see now come from that group.
Really? What was the group name? Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. It was Contractor Success Group.
Okay.
CSG, yeah. And they spun a lot of the franchises that you see now. I mean, you see, they've kind of repackaged, but you see the 1 hours, the Mr. Sparky's, things like that. But when we first joined them, I was kind of intrigued because they was wanting to, I guess it's just unique because it's unheard of in the trades at the time.
Right.
They was wanting to change it to more retail. So their ideas, and it's pretty interesting.
A little bit more digestible for the typical consumer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because it was a little bit heady of a service to sell, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So, so you had to start 18, 19 years old, out of high school, college doesn't work out. Okay, tell me what those first couple of weeks are like now that you're committing to full time,
Well, at first, like I said, before we joined that group, I've used to do a lot of the installs, work with a lot of the guys in the install teams.
So you were doing it throughout your teens anyway?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I work with them in the field. So, but that gives you insight into other things as well. But when we joined the group, of course, I got more into the sales aspect of it. In-home presentations, working with homeowners, customers, things like that. So,
Did they have the financing like they do back then?
They did.
Did they?
They did.
Yeah.
And of course, another thing they was really good at was, of course, the branding and the marketing. It was pretty aggressive in that area.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So tell me about how that kind of evolved. Working with Dad for how long?
Oh, gosh. I can't remember. We joined that group. We belonged to them several years, 4 or 5 years maybe. And then, of course, they had I guess I gave you an option. If you could join with them, and you probably heard the name Service Experts. They spun that off. That was the first organization they spun off, first name. We decided not to go with that because a lot of it was, I guess, stock options and things like that. We didn't want to get involved in that. But long story short, we just remained independent and just, done our own thing. But it was good. Learned a lot.
What were the kind of things that they were teaching in the group? The biggest takeaways that you still use today?
Oh, gosh. I guess business systems, number one. You have to have systems in your business to, operate it. But the marketing aspect, I guess, the sales, it's just pretty cool.
Yeah. So with the business systems, a lot of guys who get in, you deal with a lot of people, I would imagine, that the trades attract a certain kind of talent, right? You're going to get people that see it. It's similar to the car business in a way. People that see it as a job or a career. Right. Obviously, we want to get more of the career-minded people. They're going to sink their teeth into it. They're going to take it a lot more seriously. I think, back in the 80s and 90s, the trades was where you went when college didn't work out.
Correct.
You were relegated to a trade, and it was almost like a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's what my story was, but I ended up going in a different direction anyway, which radio essentially was a trade to a certain extent. But you getting, attracting the talent that you need is tough because a lot of the people that get into it and actually work for somebody else at one moment or another think to themselves, well, why am I doing it for this guy? I can do it on my own and make all the money.
Correct.
Right? You come across that a lot with
a lot. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Elaborate on that.
Well, I don't mean it negatively, but I think that's one of the problems that we have in the trades.
Right.
Is there's a lot of good technicians, if you would.
Yeah.
They're pretty decent at what they do. But I think their shortcoming is they don't understand the business aspect of it.
Right.
They don't understand, how to price themselves, how they come up with their pricing, things like that. So I think that's what a lot of them struggle with. They just basically make a wage instead of building a business.
They build their own job.
Correct.
They own a job.
Yes.
Hey, Middle Tennessee electricians, handy women and men, and just those of you needing better commercial LED lighting solutions. Yeah, I know, there's so many of you. I have to tell you, there's another option than just the big orange and blue box stores now. Try j2lighting.com. At j2lighting.com, we have the latest technology in all types of commercial LED lighting, from UFO high bays, drawers, area lights, and shoeboxes, right on down to a slimline wall pack that doesn't look like a fist coming off the wall like most other wall packs do. You get what I'm saying, right? Many of our fixtures are wattage and color temperature selectable, which means you have more control over the brightness and appearance in your dark spaces. Check us out at j2lighting.com for a great local source for your commercial LED lighting ideas, even full color light show dreams. Yeah, totally. That's the letter J and number 2 lighting.com. j2lighting.com.
You've been doing this long enough where what's the biggest thing that you feel like what's your strength at it?
What's my strength?
Yeah.
Branding.
What about culture creation, things like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good at that.
Pretty good at that. What about it resonates with you?
Culture?
Yeah. I would imagine that your culture is pretty good. How many guys you have working for you?
This company was for about 6 of us.
6 of us still?
Yeah, we don't do any new construction or anything like that. Very little. Just mostly service and replacement.
Right.
Yep.
And then you go into how many? Was it the same core of people that you've had for a number of years now?
Got a couple of them, yeah. A couple of the same guys, yep.
What kind of things do you see in the business that, for somebody, a high school kid, getting into a trade and making them understand that it's okay to do a trade? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. If anything, it's going to be the least amount of cost, low cost of entry, relatively low barrier to entry to get into a job like that. What would you say to somebody that, that's in high school, well, college or going and, learning a trade?
Well, actually, excuse me, you've probably seen on social media, I've seen some articles lately about there's a big demand in the trades.
Right. Huge.
And not only that, you go to 4 years of college, you still got debt, and a guy can come into the trades. You can make six figures.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity.
Do you have any, like a culture of, we believe here at J Squared, this is the J2HQ, by the way, this is where we originate this podcast. One of our core beliefs is that everybody's a salesperson. You are empowered to go out and talk to people about lighting, about, the things that we do. Heck, if you know somebody that's looking to get a podcast, bring them on. We can do it all under this roof. These are our strengths. So, is that something you encourage in your business?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got our values, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
What are your values?
Well, number one, always do the right thing, even when no one's looking. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Number two, we want to be the best at what we do. Mm-hmm. So we guarantee the homeowner will do the best installation in their market.
Right.
And put it all in writing. Does
your team have the opportunity to sell for themselves and make a little commission?
They do.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's that like?
Well, we don't believe in just giving people options. I don't believe in selling people things.
Right.
If that makes sense. But, yeah.
That got to put a black eye in the industry as well for a while.
It did, yeah.
The hard selling tactics that, you're inside somebody's home. Let's, slam them into a unit.
Yeah, there's some of that goes on, unfortunately. But, yeah, when it comes to that, you always want to do what's best for the homeowner. Because if you do that, everything, it's a win-win.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, you get an old piece of equipment. You just educate. It's all about education. Educate the homeowner. Give them the option. Say, hey, you got an old piece of equipment. Here's what it takes to get it repaired, rejuvenated, or you could do this. Get a new piece of equipment. Warranty, yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. But it's just doing the right thing.
Right.
Don't twist somebody's arm.
Right. So it's a lot of, because you did the AC in my house.
Mm-hmm.
I needed a new upstairs unit. I guess that's the heat pump.
Correct.
And you came in, and I remember you were just. The thing about that I love is that you could easily just put on a T-shirt with a pocket on it, but you are so committed to your brand that you actually did it while wearing a Hawaiian shirt. And that's your thing.
Yeah.
Right? If you've ever seen Shane's cars rolling down the road, it's a cartoon hula girl. She almost looks like an anime character. Mm. And just really bright, vivid, tropical feeling colors that make you think, hey, sunny and 75, like I'm sitting on a beach.
Yeah, what's funny, I've actually went down the interstate and people come by taking pictures.
Really?
Yeah. So that's the whole idea, though, to get attention.
How long has Aloha been in business as the brand?
About 6.
6 years, really?
Yep.
So back when you and I met, you were just getting it off the ground.
Yes, sir.
Really?
Yep.
And prior to that, it was what?
Air Experts.
Air Experts.
Yes.
So much sexier name than Air Experts. You're certainly getting into a lot more identifiable branding concepts. But 7 years later, what did you have in mind in the beginning? And where we are now versus where we are now.
Yeah, when I came up with the whole Aloha brand, I guess it goes back to what you were saying about, we was talking about the group we belong to. I got a lot of ideas from that.
Right.
And originally it was a franchise. That's everything was designed around that.
Right.
To have a franchise because, our industry is still lacking. In some ways, it's still lacking it as it's evolved a lot.
Yeah.
But I thought there was opportunity for that. Something you can have fun with.
Right. So your major competitors around here would be your Hillers, your Lee companies. Those are the monsters, right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
There's several people that I know that are in the space that dominate here in Middle Tennessee. We just recently had Justin Sharp on from the AC crew. Mm-hmm. Decent name.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? He does things very integriously as well.
Yep.
there's a lot of commonality with you guys. Do you reach out to a lot of people in the space and kind of partner up with them in any sense of the word? Or
We're working on that.
yeah, mm-hmm. Have you done so in the past?
Some, not as much as I need to.
Right. What stops you? Is there something, a hesitation that? I mean, it's competition at the end of the day, but
I always get sidetracked, I guess. You know how that goes.
What are your biggest sidetracks? What are you kind of dealing with?
Too many ideas, Jim.
Too many ideas. What's the idea du jour?
What do you mean?
Just the idea of the day. What's currently, baking in your brain?
Yeah. Currently, I'm working on a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And another thing I'm working on creating, something I've always wanted to do for years, is create a group across the country, best practice group, so we can share ideas and it grows, it evolves. We got the basic platform, but everybody contributes to it, and we get better and better and better every day.
Now, what kind of things would you? I mean, a lot. Well, you and I talked offline about this kind of concept before going onto the podcast, and you were seeking like my thoughts on it. And it's funny because I have to wrap my mind around a concept like that a little bit more, and I understand where you're going with it because if you take a model like a Facebook page that's called Talk Car Wash, which is generally geared for car wash owners, operators, that kind of thing, even employees, they've grown that thing into a 50,000 plus member site,
right?
And now they have offshoots. They have different kinds of spokes to that hub. Is that the kind of thing you're thinking, just an industry centric? Is it HVAC specific?
For now, yeah.
For now?
Yeah, but basically I'm thinking it'd be an exclusive membership. So in other words, you'd have a territory, your territory. Nobody else in that market could be in that but you.
And you could pick the brains of other people around the country.
Absolutely.
Doing what they do.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, that takes a lot of, it takes an effort to get that off the ground.
Yeah, it does.
To get the attention it needs. And being the guy that, is the person of interest, dare we say, and has the knowledge to put out there, So it's a matter of coming up with that content every week or day,
Yeah, the whole idea was kind of like I'm a big Napoleon Hill fan, of course, but
I see you've been posting a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But he's always talked about a mastermind group, so that's kind of the essence of that.
What kind of ideas do you have for it? What do you want to do with
it? Change the industry again.
Again. How does it need to be changed?
I think there's a need to drive it where it's more maintenance driven.
Really?
Yep.
Instead of trying to sell people new units.
Well, that'd be part of the process.
Right.
But I think, I've learned over the years, I believe that most repairs could have been prevented.
Right.
With preventive maintenance done correctly.
Right. Because that was the other thing was the HVAC industry invoked a twice a year kind of checkup program. Hey, for $99, you'll get a springtime checkup and a fall checkup, that kind of a thing.
Yep.
We tried doing that with the electrical side, because there's certainly maintenance that has to go into an electrical system, especially with a panel inside of a house. Those breakers become loose and things need to be tightened down and torqued.
Correct.
Which I'm surprised to see a lot of electricians don't take that up. You know what I mean? So what other ideas are baking in your mind?
Well, to create a national brand, I guess.
Right.
You and I have talked a lot about the Aloha brand, but that's always been in the back of my mind.
What are some of the challenges you've had? Because it's 7 years in the making. Did you want it to be a national brand by now? I mean, of course we
did. Yeah, I did.
What were some of the hurdles over the years?
I think you get sidetracked from your local business.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a matter of commitment, I guess.
So in terms of finding somebody, I mean, it's a common tale for a business owner knowing that, well, I need to get outside of the business to work on it.
Correct.
A lot of these coaches will, get in front of you and say, well, you need to work on your business, not in your business. Well, that's really well said. A lot easier said than done.
Correct.
Because at the end of the day, cash is oxygen. You got to make your payroll. You have to feed the business. Somebody's got to be out there selling. You got to be coaching your guys because you're going to build loyalty with your team because if they know you can do it, it's one thing to not have been there and have no idea what they're doing. It's another thing to say, well, I hired you to be an expert as well, but I know right now what you're doing is not the right thing.
A lot of moving parts.
What's that?
A lot of moving parts.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you're right at that sweet spot timing point. Because I mean, everybody that I talk to, it's about 5 to 10 years to get something off the ground.
Correct.
You know,
Yep.
getting a plane, like right now, if you were a plane, you're in rollback.
Yep.
You're about to catch air and become a loft.
Yep.
Is that what it feels like?
It
in a
does.
way?
It does. Yep.
Talk about the, where's the franchise? Because it did shift over the years, right?
It did.
How did that happen? What were some of the hurdles that you had?
You talking about with
Aloha with the branding?
franchise?
Yeah.
I think if you're talking about like the franchise option, maybe.
Yeah.
I've thought about doing the franchise, but at the same time, I've thought about maybe the licensing part too, if that's what you're asking.
Right.
So
Was that in a more of a legal question?
yes.
What
it is.
what was your counsel on it? What was the advice?
Well, the franchising has a lot more red tape to it.
Really?
Yeah. Of course, it's got more protection.
Yeah.
But I look at our business as the trades, and the reason I'm looking at licensing is because you really can't be a cookie cutter in our business, in a sense.
Right.
Every market's a little bit different.
Well, that's the thing I was going to ask. Aligning, bestowing a license for someone to use your brand and your image and your all that stuff that comes along with it. Basically, a branding in a box
Correct.
approach.
Yep.
You also want to make sure that guy's doing right by their customers.
Absolutely.
So, was there any sort of effort where you had proof of concept with somebody in the past 7 years as far as franchising?
I haven't, no.
Why
No.
is that?
I don't know.
You don't know? Is this the first time the world's hearing about that? You're thinking, hey, I could franchise Aloha,
Probably,
or
yeah.
license it.
Probably so, but I guess the licensing thing, I guess you don't have as much protection, like I said, in the licensing. But, the business owner, they know their market. There's some things they know more than I know.
Right.
So it's more of a branding thing, I think.
Yeah, but you also want to make sure they're holding, because when it comes along with the licensing,
Yep.
are those core values. You want
Correct.
to have the same kind of like-minded and like-hearted people at the helm.
Have to, yeah.
Is that tough to find?
Sometimes, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Like you said, because that can destroy your whole brand.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the process to go about that?
Just the legalities of it.
Right.
Yeah. Having it all written up.
Because, even interviewing somebody and they could put on a great facade and veneer for an interview, and then, the honeymoon ends, and then the reality hits, and you find out who maybe they truly are,
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you looking for existing companies out there to maybe kind of take it and run with it? Is that a play?
Yeah, more of the smaller guys, I would think.
Right.
I think that's where more of the need is.
Well, maybe you need to meet Justin Sharp then, the guy I just had on.
Yeah.
He's got a good brand, but it's not as strong as Aloha, in my
Right.
opinion.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
And I would actually tell him, to his face if that were the case. But I had no idea that this is something, maybe offline we just need to talk about,
Sure.
maybe because you've also been trying to get into the Middle Tennessee market more so.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Correct.
Yep.
Because for a while you were working mainly out of Murfreesboro,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
What stopped that?
I guess we put more focus on the Cookeville market. 'Cause
Right.
That's our background.
Yeah.
So
what is is it lucrative out? Like, I guess you're crushing it out there. So
yeah. Yeah. We're actually been talking about moving more into, this market.
Middle
more.
Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
I remember you and I talking about that.
There's a lot more demand.
What does that take? You can't be, that's a long drive.
Yeah. A lot of it's like you talked about, talking to guys that's already got existing, businesses.
Right.
It's got good reputations.
So if you had to put an ask out on the podcast for those listening, what would it be to, pursue a licensing opportunity here in Middle Tennessee,
Yeah.
in this territory?
Yeah. We're still working on the details, but I want to make it affordable, for guys. It's not something, my goal never was to, of course everybody wants to make money.
Yeah.
That never was the goal. The goal was to help the industry.
Right.
Help guys that's struggling, with the brand, to give them a brand identity.
Okay. And what comes with the licensing? Have you figured that out?
Not yet, Jim.
Not yet.
No, it's in the works. Yeah. I better wait before I put that out there.
Well, tell me the story of the branding. How did that all come into play?
Oh, gosh.
When did you first see it in your mind and make it and take action on it?
Yeah. It's kind of a funny story. I actually went to I guess not long after we sold our old company, I should say, I went to Memphis, which was a good experience. Worked with a friend of mine out there.
Did you live out there?
I did for about a year. Yep. And of course, while I was there, I come up. I don't remember why, but of course, I've always been a fan of branding and marketing and do a lot of reading on that. But I come up with the Aloha brand while I was there, and I still got the scratch pad where I wrote it out and come up with it. So I just thought it was something fun. I mean, it's unique. The branding, the Hawaiian theme, something that people remember. Because everybody likes to go to the beach. Yeah, everybody likes the ocean. So it was something that people could laugh about, have fun with, and get attention.
I would imagine that even the comfort aspect is what you're selling.
Correct.
Right. Getting people back to comfort.
Yep.
And that's what I kind of came up with the idea for beach chair heating and air, because it just evokes that image, A Corona bottle with a lime in it, with the gulls going by, waves rolling in. Maybe it's 5 o'clock, the sun's beginning to go down. That time of day, and it's a nice 75 degrees. Is 75 too warm or too cold? Because I was told before that, well, sometimes people just don't like 75. The song says sunny and 75, and
right. It's
supposed to evoke perfection, right?
Yeah, you might have to franchise that.
It's for sale, okay? Is that something you would think of, like breaking Aloha and going with beach chair heating and air?
Oh, well,
it rhymes.
That's right.
It's alliterative.
That's a good. Right? Yeah, it's good.
Alliterative. So you're also a family man.
Yes, sir.
Got married how long ago?
17 years.
17 years. My goodness.
Yeah, 17.
We're going on 23 this year.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Goes by quick, right?
So how did she feel? Marrying heating and air guy.
I think it was tough at first.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It takes up a lot of your time because you got to be there. You got to be the customer's beck and call, man.
Yeah, it's
right?
demanding, as you know. Yeah, it is. And I think the whole idea, at first, too, of her adapting to the entrepreneur mindset.
Really?
Yeah.
But you were always an entrepreneur. You were always self-employed.
Yep, always.
Thanks. Now, is your dad still around in your family and everything?
He is, yeah.
And how's... is he still in the business at all?
Some, yeah. I want him to, though.
Yeah.
I want him to be active. That's his cup of tea.
Does he help you out in your business?
Yeah.
What does he do?
He helps inside some. I let him work out in the field some.
Yeah.
He likes that more than anything.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He likes interacting with customers.
Was he kind of like, it's interesting to see like a second generation business really start to take flight, But personally, my experience with you is that you've had this massive vision, and it's just a matter of time, a matter of taking action on it. Is this the year? What's the plan for this year? You think so? You know so.
I believe so. I know so. Yeah.
So, who are you looking for in terms of the business?
You talking about my business?
Yeah. What needs to happen in your home base and your headquarters before you start pursuing licensing, franchising?
Yeah, working on getting somebody in place to run the operation.
Right.
Yep.
Has that been tough? Have you had any luck with that in the past?
It is a challenge, as you know. Sometimes it is a challenge to find good people.
Yeah. Or some that take ownership.
Yes.
Without being an owner.
Yes.
Have you had other people in the business to do it? What are some of the things you've experienced?
Yeah, somewhat. But the ownership mindset, I think, like you said, that's always key.
Yeah.
Finding those people. Yeah, I always try to move people up if they get, if they got, the right mindset.
Right. So you can actually start pursuing franchises and licensors. Yep. Not franchises, but you know what I mean.
Yep. Yeah, actually, I got a goal, Jim, September the 1st. That's the goal to transition this year.
Into a more of a work on my business role.
Yep.
Yeah. 7 years in, that sounds about right.
Yep.
Any other family members that are interested in maybe helping out?
No, I don't.
Your kids interested?
Yeah, I don't know. One of them might be.
Yeah.
But I don't want to push them into that.
Right.
I want them to be their own person, I guess.
Right.
But I'd love to if they do want to do that. But
yeah,
I want them to be their own person.
Find out who they are.
Yep.
How old are your kids?
My daughter's 15. Got 3 boys. The oldest one's 11, 9, and 6.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're still in the early stages.
Still in the early stages.
How's working with a 15-year-old girl? Is it fun?
It's challenging at times. Yeah, but she's good. She's got a lot of my personality.
Oh, yeah? How so?
She's a thinker.
Yeah?
She loves reading, so I've tried to instill that in her. She's really the only one that took interest in that. So,
do you encourage reading for your guys, your team?
I do.
What do you have them reading?
I try to get them to read Napoleon Hill. I mean, everybody knows I'm a Napoleon Hill fan, but just different things like that to put in their head. Try to help them have the right mindset.
Now, how long have you been in this is news to me. I didn't realize you were a Napoleon Hill guy.
Oh, yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
Napoleon Hill? Oh, gosh, 15 years.
15? Mm-hmm. And you still pursuing it after 15 years?
Every year I read one time.
Really? Mm-hmm. And that's, for those of you who don't know, it's Think and Grow Rich.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's actually got several books, as you know, but yeah.
That's what he's biggest known for.
Yes. Yeah. Every year I read Think and Grow Rich one time.
Do you you get a takeaway every year that you missed before?
Oh, yeah.
What's this year's?
I think a lot of it's confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting that every year I read that book, I'll say something I've never seen.
Right.
It's crazy.
Like what?
I don't know. It's just
nothing comes to mind.
No, not right off. But I mean, it's just when you read that, it's like, man, I never thought about that before.
Yeah.
But just try to have a right mindset.
What's the one thing about the business that frustrates you?
Getting the right help.
Yeah.
Yep. Which everybody's got that problem. It used to be easier to get help. You probably knew that.
Yeah.
But now, I don't know. Just technology and stuff has changed. It's a challenge.
Is it since when?
Oh gosh. I'd say the last 10 years or so.
Like the lack of help has increased?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. It's finding, even going to the trade schools.
Yep.
And getting graduates so you could shape them.
Yep.
Has it been their attitude?
That's a lot of it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's typically what it comes down to.
Yeah. Yeah, I can take a guy that's got the right attitude and I can teach him technical skills.
Right.
But I can't give him an attitude.
It's funny, a buddy of mine in Lebanon owns a body shop. He said exactly that. He says, if I get a guy in here who's been doing it for years, he's harder to work with.
Yep.
He says, as long as I have somebody that's willing and eager, I'll hold their hand all day.
Yep.
As long as they're learning and figuring it out.
Yeah, you get some guys that's been taught wrong, and it's hard. You have to untrain them to train them.
What kind of things have you experienced in that? Taught wrong how?
Just processes, I guess. Installation, mostly. Yeah.
And that's the thing is that the big three is being technically proficient, being honest and integrous, and also being good in front of customers. That's tough to forget.
And it's huge now.
Right.
Yeah, the customer aspect is huge.
Because they can roast you,
Make or break you.
Yep.
Especially with reviews and everything now.
Well, how are your reviews?
Good.
How do you work that?
We have an app through our marketing that sends reviews automatically.
What about communication, phone system wise? Do you have anything that's in place? Because what is your policy when it comes to employee phones? Do they use your own phone for communicating with customers or with the home base, or do you give them a phone?
No, we have our own phones we give them.
Okay, so they're carrying two phones around.
Correct.
Really? Mm-hmm. I might have a solution for you on that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Are you still using call centers for that? Or a calling service, answering service?
Yes.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a solution for it. We got to talk about that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. How do people find and follow you, my friend?
Just call aloha.com.
That's the website.
Yes. Yeah. And then on social media, of course, Shane Ray, a.k.a. the Big Kahuna.
So there you go. Well, talk about that. Your social media, you're putting stuff out. The Big Kahuna.
Yeah.
How did that? I forgot to ask about this. Because if you ever go on social media and you see Shane, he's got a big white hat, flat brim, typically. And it says Kahuna on it. Big giant block letters.
Yeah.
How'd that come up? Did that come first, then Aloha? What?
No, it was kind of funny. A group that I used to belong to, it's kind of an inside joke because of the Hawaiian theme, the Aloha Hawaiian. And somebody made a joke one time and said, "Hey, here's the Big Kahuna." And I was like, that's an idea.
Was that the same group that you and I were in?
I believe so.
The thing, to their credit, they had really good ideas.
They did.
You know what I mean?
They did.
And a lot of good, melding of mindsets with all the people that were in there that were really purposeful and intentionally sharing those ideas without, they didn't feel threatened or anything like that.
No. But it's actually funny because kahuna actually means expert.
Oh.
So
there you go.
Pretty cool.
I mean, after, 40 some odd years of doing this, you better be an expert by now.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. But yeah, going back to that group, we did create a lot of good friendships.
We did.
That's
how we met.
Times. It is.
Yeah, buddy. Well, there you go. JustCallAloha.com.
Yep.
Was AlohaHVAC.com taken?
I don't know, Jim.
You don't know?
I better check.
Yeah, you got to check all these things. Don't be like me and have confusing, convoluted website names, like mostly Middle Tennessee Business Podcast.com. That's a thing. But it, it really is long, So, well, there you go, man. All the details will be in the description, and make sure Shane really is an expert in his field. If you're in the Cookeville area or even out here, are you starting to kind of venture out more and more into Middle Tennessee, or you just want somebody to kind of run with that territory at some point? I mean, are you okay with setting up a customer base that someone can ease into?
Oh yeah,
out here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for anybody listening too, you just ask them about. I mean, reach out to me, Shane at justcallaloha.com. Be glad to chat with you. About a partnership.
Well, very cool. Well, there you go. Check them out. All the details will be in the description. And if you enjoyed the podcast, share it out for your like-minded folk who need heating and air, or people that are in the industry to reach out to Shane or myself. If you know anybody that would be a good fit for the podcast, those people that exist in Middle Tennessee, because I get hit up a lot by, people that want to be on the podcast. And I first ask them, great, where in Middle Tennessee are you? Oh, I'm in Oxnard, California. Okay, when are you going to be in Middle Tennessee? Oh, you don't do virtuals? Okay, you obviously don't watch or listen to the podcast because everything is in person for the most part. So definitely send them to MMTBP.com. There is a link there that they can reach out and contact us and say, we could start that conversation. I mean, I'm open to anybody, man. I love having these kind of conversations. To those, it's not an infomercial. I'll put that out there as well. We talk about, real conversations with business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals. So there you go. Check us out, MMTBP.com. Shane, always a great hang with you, sir. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you, sir.